In this video, I'm going to demonstrate key concepts of stubbing using an RSpec test suite so that you can quickly master RSpec. My one assumption is that you've written tests before and know what stubbing means. And that's pretty much it. So let's get started. So key concept number one is that you can stub the functions and constants of any object. In the first example I have here on line 6, I'm using a real email service and I'm stubbing out the send. And in the second example, I'm using a double and I'm stubbing out the send for the double. Just to show you an example, if I run the first um, test, you can see there's no print statement because I've stubbed out send. And I'm having it return true instead of printing. And you can do this with other properties other than methods. You can do this with constant as well. The syntax is slightly different, but it's the same idea. Key concept number two, when you're working with doubles, you have to remember that by default, a double cannot receive any messages that you do not explicitly allow it to receive. So on line number 13, we have the email service double. And if I run it right now, it's fine because it knows how to respond to the send message. But if I don't have that, if I don't pre-program it to receive that message, then it's going to blow up. And that's default behavior for doubles. Key concept number 3 is that you can configure the stubs constraints as well as responses. So you already have examples of us specifying a response. Now, what I mean by constraint is pretty much how you want these messages to be received by your objects. So what do I mean by that? Right now, if I run this code, it's fine. But if I say I want this email service double to receive send with these two specific arguments, then it's going to fail. So I expected 1 and 2, but instead it just got a string. The fourth and last key concept is that stubs are also spies. And what I mean by that is that any message that you stub for an object is automatically tracked by RSpec. So it knows whether or not it's been called and how many times it's been called. So if I run example number 36 or line number 35, you'll see that it passed because we definitely called send on the double. You can be more specific with your expectations and assert based on the number of times it's been called. So if I run number 44, we know it's been called once, but if I change this to twice, and again, since RSpec knows by the end of that test case how many times it's been called, you're able to write expectations like this. So there you go. It's going to fail because we only called it once. And again, you're able to do this because anytime you stub a message, it is also spied upon. All right, so that's the end of this very quick overview of RSpec. Just to go over the 4 key ideas that I covered. Number 1, you can stub the functions and constants of any object. Number 2, which is a corollary to number 1, is that when you're working with objects that are doubles, you cannot use what you do not stub. Number 3, you can configure those stubs to receive messages in a specific way and also respond in a specific way. And finally, stubs are also spies. Whenever you stub something, it is automatically tracked.